going to become some kind of party, student, frat house residence place. That would be absolutely the least of my intentions in this building. This is an apartment building. It's designed and built as purely fundamentally a residential apartment building. We actually are very lucky. One of our tenants has come to join us tonight. Please feel free to ask her any questions. She lives in the building that we have in Ganesh. She will tell you very clearly. This is, I think the comment that came up driving down is it's the most boring building on earth. It's boring. Nothing much happens in it. People live and sleep and study and do their thing. We're now in our second year of operation. We haven't found a single beer bottle or garbage in the halls or on the roof garden or anything in our years of operation. And I'm very happy and pleased to report that. And there's some very good reasons why that's the case. The units are frankly too small to socialize in on any great scale. I mean, people do have dinner events and so on, but there's no parties. It attracts a kind of tenant who wants to be downtown. Their social life happens in the downtown core, not inside their units. And also because the units are very high-end, they're very nicely laid out, our tenants really respect them. I think one of the comments in one of the letters that was submitted said, you know, tenants treat a building the same way that a landlord does. And I believe we're very good landlords, and it's because we really care for our investments. We take care of them, and our tenants respond accordingly. One of the other comments in all the letters was, or in some of the letters, was that the building does not, I don't like it, doesn't fit the downtown core. And this is one where we engaged a design firm. We gave them the guidelines for the requirements in Wolfville and said, please design a building that meets our needs, but also meets the requirements of the town. I like the building. I think it's an exciting blend of the Nova Scotia vernacular with some modern edges to it. Somebody else may not. Our opinions perhaps are not as critical here. What matters is, do we meet the guidelines and the directions of the town of Wolfville? And I believe certainly from the reports that were commissioned and also from all the discussions back and forth, we not only do, but we also exceed them. And so to me, that's fundamentally a critical area there. We've met those design requirements. A couple comments came up that somehow like if you don't like the message, perhaps shoot the messenger here. That the designer is not a qualified architect or not an engineer or what have you. Clearly, these are concept drawings. Our next step, if council agrees to our proposal, is to commission full architectural drawings with full engineered drawings and so on. So all those, again, a legitimate concern will be met in terms of we will have proper full-scale engineered architectural drawings, which of course completely meet all the requirements of the Nova Scotia Building Code. Another big area, of course, was parking, and I've already addressed that. It was a legitimate concern, 15 parking spots for 71 units. Even though our experience says that's all we need, we went to the extra expense and trouble. And I think, frankly, it'll be good because it means we'll have more commercial parking for our commercial tenants, the extra visitor parking, and perhaps some of our neighbors that require extra parking spots might also use some of our spots if there's any extra left over. There's no issue there. In fact, actually, I think now we're up to about 35 spots in terms of what we're able to achieve. And I guess, obviously the main reason for that is the reason why our tenants really enjoy living in our building is because it's right downtown. And as a result, many of them, not all, we have, as I said, about 7 tenants that have parking spots in Ganesh. The rest do not have cars. And we've canvassed every one of them to find out exactly, because we thought perhaps some people have cars, but they're parking them off-site. And so we actually asked each one, and we found out that we have 7 who actually have vehicles out of 35. Another very legitimate concern was the driveway that we had. We had only, again, in our building in Ganesh, we only have a one-way driveway. Sorry, two-way driveway, but it's only one-way width. It works fine when you have 35 units. But 70 units, you're pushing the boundaries. So we've negotiated a right-of-way with our neighbor to the north, and we now have an agreement in principle for a right-of-way to his property. So that's really marvelous. If this is approved, we'll do all the legal work and get that done. If for some reason that falls through, however, as Director Gregg has indicated, we have a fallback plan of having a 2-lane driveway on our own property. But basically that issue now, a very legitimate, real concern, is now, I think, put to rest. The garbage handling was another major concern. It's one thing when you have 20, 30 units, you can take your garbage out to the curb. When you have 75 units or 71 units, that changes the dynamics. So we've designed in our building a separate garbage handling facility. We've been in contact with the Valley Waste Resource Management group and have had numerous discussions with them as to how to design our facilities such that the garbage can be separated and collected and dealt with. And so that's, and again, another very legitimate issue that we have now dealt with, and it's great. We'll be able to have proper separating facilities, a separate room inside the building itself. So even though there's provisions for curbside collection, we won't need to do that. The garbage will be collected directly from the garbage facility, with the recycling garbage facility within the building itself. Another big area of concern, and again, I met actually one of my neighbors who took the energy and time to come here from Ontario today to be part of this meeting, Mr. Hutton, to my east, I guess. The concern that was raised by his property manager was about the air conditioners and the amount of noise. In our building in Antigonish, the highest number of air conditioners we have on one side is 16. On one side of this building, there might be up to about 18 or even 20. What's going to happen when there's 20 of those air conditioners on at the same time? And it's a very legitimate question. We have not had an issue in Antigonish, but again, we have a bigger building over here in Wolfville. So we did some research, and the particular units that we have installed in Antigonish and plan to install over here happen to be state-of-the-art units that have the lowest sound rating of that type of air conditioner in the industry. The units are rated at a rating of 60 decibels, which, and I'll have to step away from the microphone for this, is actually the sound, like if you can hear me now, that's the sound of our air conditioners at absolutely full blast, both with the air conditioner on at full and the fan on at full. And so I'm sure you can hear the sound, but it's quite reasonable. The sound from a car traveling on Main Street has a decibel rating of 70, which has about 10 times the amount of pressure. It's a logarithmic scale. And the other part too about the air conditioners is there's 60 decibels at 3 feet. If you go to 30, 40 feet, obviously the sound rating virtually disappears. So even if there are 20 air conditioners all in a row, the furthest one away is going to be 40 or 50 feet away. The length of the building is over 100. And so again, the most you'll hear is the equivalent of 4 or 5 air conditioners at one time. Not insignificant, but substantially less than what you'd hear from traffic on Main Street. So again, it's a legitimate concern. I did not have those facts when I first applied for this development agreement. I'm glad that the solution is inherent within the technology itself. And also, obviously, we don't have to put our conditioners in our units. We're doing that because, again, I think it adds, these actually are very specialized units. They're both air conditioners, they're heat exchangers, they're air handling units, and they're a heat pump all included. So they're very high-tech pieces of equipment. But what they do is they provide fresh air into each individual unit. They provide heating through a heat pump, which is the most efficient and environmentally sustainable form of heating you can get. And they also provide cooling in the summer as necessary.